I have been so selfish with my time for many years. We can tell ourselves lies, and culture tells them to us nonstop as far as like, you need you time. And I think you do need to invest in yourself, but I can find a way to do that that's helpful to our family and helpful to our marriage, not a huge take. Howdy, folks. Welcome to the podcast. It's another fall, and so we've got new systems. We've got new habits and routines for the whole family that we're going to be talking about in today's episode. Folks, if you enjoy this podcast, we would appreciate it so much if you're able to leave a rating or a review on any of the platforms you listen to us on. And if you do watch our podcast on YouTube, if you subscribe to the channel or hit the like button, that helps our podcast grow and reach new people. Katie and I were just talking this evening about a bunch of people we really want to interview, people that we've grown from reading or just listening to. It's like, man, we would love to be able to interview these people. And the more our podcast grows, the further the reach it is, the easier it is to get these guests, and the more likely it is that they're willing to come on to our podcast. So if you help our podcast grow by sharing it and leaving those ratings and reviews, hopefully we're able to bring you more and more value through bringing on these guests and so on. So, folks, thank you. Goodbye.
The Now That We're a Family podcast.
Okay, Elisha, I'm excited to hear about these new systems. Let's launch in. I do want to make a note that if you guys are looking into systems specifically for this fall, the Get It All Done Club is still running. I am amazed it has been going for, I don't know how many years now. 20
years? I don't think so.
Since 2020.
No, since 20. I think it was 2019.
I think I worked on it in 2019, and then
It officially
launched in 2020, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But anyways, I'm just always amazed. I get in there once a month to do a live with the women that ask questions in there. And I'm always blown away by just the quality of women in our clubhouse. And so if you're looking for systems and routines to help build your home this fall, give you more time to do the things you love to do and become more efficient at things that we just need to do to run our homes, but it's not necessarily what we would choose to spend our time doing, then check out the Get It All Done Club, you guys. And just see if there's something there that could be for you. It's a big purchase. It's a lifetime purchase. And I would love to visit with you guys more intimately there and answer your questions live real time.
It is a pretty exclusive and elite group of women over there. When I hear about the conversations you guys are having and just the interaction, I'm like, wow, what a cool thing you've created. It's a unique community.
Yeah, the Lord's really blessed, and the women in there are very God-fearing.
Not to mention the abundance of videos and resources you've created now over the years. Yeah,
like dozens and dozens of printables and spreadsheets and Trello charts and customizable templates that are online and offline, and then all the videos and walkthroughs of how I actually do things with the kids. There's a lot of kind of more day in the life stuff, or showing you how we do it. And so, I forget. I put a lot of time and effort into making that content. And then when I go back and I look at it, I'm like, oh, wow, I used to love doing this and walking you guys around and showing you in each drawer and how I do each thing specifically. So, and then there's also just me talking through the basics of how we live our life and have for years, and in little bite-sized chunks.
Yes. Yeah, and that, I'm glad you mentioned the Get It All Done Club, because that is entirely appropriate for today's episode, because with fall time, I feel like the school year, or fall, along with the new year, to me, are like the two times when people are really evaluating their routines and their habits and their systems. And I don't know about our listeners, but I know I'm always eager to improve my routine and to maximize my days. And since we became a fan of systems, and a lot of the, I guess, the impetus for our systems was from reading that book, Atomic Habits, and realizing that, man, we cannot rely on willpower to get us through and to help us grow in the areas that matter most to us. We really need to have some outside systems that can support us. And some systems you can plug and play and they may be there for life. I think most of the time, as life changes, we need to be modifying and changing and improving and updating our current systems. And that this fall, it certainly feels like that for me. We've got 6 children. We live in a new home than from which we lived in last year, and which was different than the year before. And this year, I don't know if it's more than past falls, but it's definitely been more. I think I've been more aware than past years of my insufficiency when it comes to my own, to relying on inspiration, to relying on willpower, to relying on just the desire to do the right thing. And by the right thing, I mean the things that are needed for leading my family, for being a husband, for being a father, for being a provider, a protector. Like, you ask me at the right time of the right day, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm ready to do everything that's necessary to do those tasks, well. But then you could ask me the next day at a different hour, and my willpower's gone, or I'm fatigued, I'm shot, and the desire's gone, and I need to be able to lean on something outside of myself. And so I'm always eager to come up with new systems that support me, especially in my roles. This is something that you constantly are doing, Katie, and I think that's such an inspiration to me, is that you are just constantly improving yourself and your systems. And with the 6 children, now with more homeschooling than ever before, with outside sports now a part of our routine, this is the most spread thin you've been, and yet you rose to the occasion. Not because you just are trying harder necessarily. I mean, maybe you are trying harder, but because you're working smarter, not harder. And I'm sure you're trying harder too. But I think the effectiveness comes from working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely say the same thing of you. I feel like you lead our family so well in driving yourself and pushing yourself constantly to get better and, to become more efficient, to do more with your time, to become a better person. And, I didn't think you could get any better, but you are just so driven, and you carry such a heavy load for our family, and you continue to get better and better at, you honestly just take on more and more and more and more. So I don't know if that's going to get old, but I am amazed by you.
Well, thanks for saying that. I don't feel like I take on more and more and more. I feel like the Lord gives me more, and it's humbling with the children, with even just business and this property now, something that I feel like we should steward. You could say I'm taking it on, but it's like, whoa, it's a gift. Each time we have a child, each time our children are growing and developing in capabilities and complexities, I'm like, wow, this is a gift. And I can't run from it. I think I'm more convicted than ever in the true, responsibility of being, like, you can't run from it. People do, men do, and they try to shirk their responsibilities or abdicate from their role, and they are going to be held accountable in this life, I think, and in the life to come. I think they're held accountable in this life by the fruit that they get to enjoy or not enjoy in their children. Do their children honor them, right? Do their children heed their instruction when they're in their teen years, when they're young adults? Do they have a relationship with their children when they're older? And so I don't want to lean on my own strength. I want to trust in the Lord. But as I'm trusting the Lord, I'm realizing He has made it very clear what my role is here. And I would not be trusting the Lord by being lazy. I would not be trusting the Lord by being apathetic. And so often I think that is like what people consider to be the other, like it's like, are you going to trust the Lord, or are you going to work hard? And it's like, I'm going to work hard and trust the Lord because the Lord told me to work hard in these things and to, put my best foot forward. And the glory of a young man is his strength. And yeah, of course He brings the increase, but the farmers do need to plant, and they need to tend to their seeds and to their crops. And are we dependent on the Lord for rain? Absolutely. And for the harvest, all of it. Like, He does all those things. But if you don't plant the seeds, if you don't water, if you don't tend to the weeds, then we know you're not that we're not going to have a harvest. That's something that we want.
Yeah, I've really admired you in this season, because it's been a season where a lot of things have been coming at you, and I've been like, okay, well, maybe just like relax, or like, chill on this season, do something you want to do, unwind. You're like, well, I can't go to bed late because I have to get up early because, it's like you have so many things on your plate. And I think a lot of guys would probably be tempted to go towards escapism when there's this feeling of burden and pressure constantly on you. And a lot of people looking to you for leadership. And but you just don't go there. You just keep choosing the more difficult path every day. And it's inspirational to me.
No, and this isn't about me and my systems, really, because you are the one that's way more in the trenches with all these. You're with the kids on a daily basis.
Yeah, you are too. You come home and you pour straight into them.
Managing the home. But I do feel like collectively we are extremely blessed, and with the blessing of children. We've talked about this in recent episodes. We don't view a larger family as something that's just we're not taking that flippantly. One, we are seeing the true gift that it is. Like the ability to conceive and then to carry a healthy child and bring it into the world is such a privilege and a gift, and we can't take that for granted. And then once you have those children, you can't just willy-nilly be raising these kids, just assuming that they're going to turn out. That's not how it actually works. Like, you can do it poorly, and you can have bad fruit, right? In your flock. And so we're taking this seriously, I think, collectively.
Yeah.
And anyways, so
it's very much a team effort.
Yeah. So I'd say, like, which is funny, before we get into kind of like our new systems, in times past, I think that I wanted to improve my systems, my habits, our routines from a place of want or a place of lack, where, like, I think of early on in our marriage, I was lacking momentum in a career and in provision financially. And we wanted to get out of that little apartment. And so it's like, that was my motivator when I'd set the alarm, right? And wake up earlier, it's just kind of like, we got to get out of this place. And that continued to kind of be the motivator, until recently, where it's like, man, I love this life. I feel like I don't deserve anything that I have. I feel so rich and provided for, and I love what I get to do. And now it's what's making me set the alarm early is this responsibility. I'm like, oh my word, the Lord gave me 6 children. He gave me a home, a beautiful wife, a property, a business. I really want to steward this. I want to be sober-minded each day and how I handle him. And of course, he gave it to me. Like I said, he could take it away, but I also want to honor him with my time and with my energy in each one of those things, this family. I think when we were having kids early on, I didn't realize, like, people might, from a negative standpoint, be like, it doesn't get easier, it gets harder. And it's like, it becomes more important, I think, than anything. Like, the time you're putting into it, as you see your kids grow, you're like, oh, got it. Like, this really matters. We really need to pour into these things.
Yeah. So what would you say some of the systems are right now that you have?
Well, what's nice, Katie, is that we support each other in a lot of our systems.
We do.
And a lot of these things people will have heard before. I think they look different than ever because we've got some children that are now a year older or a couple years older, maybe since the last time we talked about this. And so I've found my kids to be a lot more a part of past bookend routines. And so my mornings and my evenings have always been a critical part to my routine and systems for me. And I always viewed those as like alone time, my time. And that would be, I need to unwind, or I need to, have quiet time in the morning to really get a good start and to have a clear perspective on what the day has for me. And I still really covet those times, and I still really appreciate those times. But as our children have gotten older, I've realized, like, oh man, I want them to be in my evening routine. I think of so many carefree evenings with my father and my mother that it's like they weren't trying to get rid of us. At least it didn't seem like it, right? I didn't get the impression that they were just trying to get rid of us so that they could talk or that they could have alone time. My dad wasn't trying to get us to bed so we could go watch the game or go play video games or go do his own thing. It's like we were his wind down, his evening wind down, and he conversed with us, and we would play board games, or we'd read or just talk. And I've decided to make that a lot more part of my evening. And so instead of being frustrated that now we've got older kids that are staying up later, being like, oh, wait a second, what would I want to do if this was my time? Like, if they were in bed, what would I want to do to unwind? I'm going to bring them in to that with me. And so we're now all making tea. We just all had tea this evening when we were all together for the evening wind down session. That's something that's like I would have done on my own, and then read a book I was excited about on my own. Well, our kids really appreciate, thanks to you and how you're pointing to them, great literature. And so now, like this unwind time, I'm able to embrace as a family time, and it's serving me in a similar way to what I would view my personal time as, doing the same activities, making tea, reading a great book, even discussing the book, and they're a part of it. So that's something that's different than it's ever been.
Yeah, actually, I didn't realize how intentional you were with this until we went on a run the other day. And you told me I've started making the tea ahead of time, because I noticed that you would make tea for yourself and me, and myself and me. Is that what I said? Yourself and me. And put it on the table, our little coffee table there, when we would sit down and do Bible time with the kids. And usually that would be something that maybe we'd get out after the kids go to bed.
Right.
But it happened quite a few times in a row. And then you told me on the run, yeah, well, I'm intentional about that, because this is a time where I don't want to wait till the children go to bed to start having to wind down.
Yes.
I want to wind down with the kids.
Yes.
And I just thought that was so sweet that you did that, and that was so thoughtful. And I think that the kids feel that way too. And just so you guys know, have context, it remains to be seen if we will ever become late night people when our children get older. I think that's kind of a myth of having young adult children and good relationships with them, is that you have to stay up really late, because I had a curfew till 9:00 until I was 21 and got married.
Yes.
And I have phenomenal relationships with my parents. So I don't think that's the only way you have to do it. But that said, the kids are staying up till maybe like 8-ish. And I think why it feels different is we are putting the younger 1 or 2 to bed. Would you say that? And so we have like the older 4 with us, or sometimes 5, like tonight Lionel was with us. But it feels like this, because you can't really totally unwind I can't. If I have like a baby and a toddler demands, like that is just very demanding.
Yes.
And so I don't feel like I can unwind until they are asleep. But once that happens, then it's like, okay, now we can sit around, we can converse, we can play music, we can, just play games or whatever. I don't know what you would say. Yeah,
because the 2 youngest are still generally going to bed at that time that the other kids used to go to bed, which is 7. Like we've always had like this 7:00 the kids are in bed thing. And in the 2 younger, that is still the case. And so you are right that the mood
still can shift.
Exactly. Because I think prior to me making this mental shift and then implementing this new routine is that I was like, okay, we get the little kids to bed. Now we do the family reading. And then once they're in bed, then I can start my evening routine. And everything just got prolonged. And it's like, this is going too late into the evening and I need to get up in the morning. And so that's a great detail to include in that.
Well, yeah. And the other thing is we have bumped up our bedtime because they're morning so like Elisha and I are trying to get in bed. I would know what you would say, but we're in bed by around 9.
Yeah, that's the goal. Exactly.
So we haven't talked about that, but I feel like I'm trying to get in bed by 9. You're trying to get in bed by 9. And, so because of that, it just doesn't leave a lot of time between the children going to bed and, being in and out, going to the bathroom, getting drinks, all that, and then us going to bed and wrapping up what we need to do.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just a short evening where we used to just stay up later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And on the flip side, the morning bookend thing, something that's different is I still really prefer being up before any of the kids. And so if some of the kids come out of their room, shortly after I get up, I will have them go back to their bed and be like, no, it's not time to get up yet. However, I'm far more, willing to give. I used to like 2 hours to myself in the morning. Basically, I'd get up and I would want 2 hours of reading and of a little bit of work and maybe some workout and something like that. And then the kids could get up and I could face the kids.
Sometimes like 2.5. When I think like 5 to 7:30.
Yeah.
Like we used to do that.
Yeah. And now, we're still up between 5 and 5:30, but depending on the kids, a lot of them will be up shortly after 6 or 6:30. And if we feel like they need sleep or they're going to run themselves down, we will have them go back to bed for sure. right? Like we still very much reserve the right to be the parents of our children when it comes to their.
And just so you guys have context, we have a ton of windows in our house right now that don't have blinds because it's a new build. And it's summer.
Yes.
So our sun here in North Idaho has been rising around 4.
Right.
And so the kiddos are awake and we still have them stay in their rooms technically, but sometimes the toddler comes out and then sometimes the eldest comes out.
Yes. And what's cool about the older kids is that, especially our 2 oldest, because they're great readers at this point. Our third's becoming a good reader as well. But the 2 oldest are enjoying reading the Bible with me. And I'm like, man, just similarly to like the evening where I'm like, this is the same thing I would want to be doing by myself. Like, why would I not let them come in and sit on the couch next to me? And we're not reading together. They're reading the Bible by themselves, but I want to be with them as they develop that habit. I also want them to see me doing that. Like, I want them to know that, oh, Dad is going to God's word as the authority. And that's what he's building our life on in a very practical and tangible way. And so that is something that, like I said, I'm open to that now, right? Including them in that part of my morning. And then another area that I'm a lot more consistently including them in on is my morning run. And our oldest especially, but sometimes our daughter, and then even our third born most recently has been joining me as well. And this is just a fun season for me where this is the slowest I've ever ran in my entire life, even when the kids aren't, it's not the kids' fault. Right? Like I'm just really slow right now and running, and I'm fine with that. I go out every day. It's a consistency thing. I have to get our dog out, and we live across the street from national forests and from some timberland as well. And like timber company owns some land across the street that we have full free reign of. And so it's like, I would be a fool to not capitalize on that each morning. And it is so rich, both physically, mentally, spiritually, and now relationally with the kids, to be able to bring them in that habit. And oftentimes, like with the last time I ran with our third born, we only ran for like a half mile, and then he was kind of wearing out, and so we ended up just walking and hiking.
A colt.
Yeah,
to defend him, because
exactly.
he does.
Oh, he's a hardy dude. He would have been fine.
Yeah.
I thought his cold was more past than it was, and he started like coughing quick, about a half mile.
He's so excited to go with you.
Yeah. And we ended up just like basically hiking for, 40 minutes and exploring a bunch of new places that I hadn't been in the national forest, because they're not really great for running, but once we decided to walk, I was like, okay, well, let's do some boonie stomping over here. And it was so fun to get that one-on-one time with him. And I will do this just with one child at a time. Mm-hmm. And so I do really feel like it is quality time. And again, totally shifting in the sense that I'm running slower than ever. I'm probably getting far worse of a workout. But as far as lifestyle fitness goes, I'm still getting out and moving my body. My heart rate's definitely getting up. I mean, we're going up hills here. Like we're getting the dog out. We're exploring new country. I'm seeing the sunrise. It's just so powerful. It's such a, Andrew Huberman like thing. It's like, oh, you watch the sunrise, and it hits those happy sensors. And being able to do that actually really is a gift. It's a total privilege.
And like as a side benefit, you've never looked better in your life. So.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's
to
true.
You through your eyes.
It's true. No.
But what's funny is that even though I'm running slower than ever, I'm running more than ever because of how sustainable it is. If that makes sense.
Every day.
And like, who knows if I'm healthier or not healthier? I just feel like at least I'm getting out every day, and that makes it really. And the kids hold me accountable with that now too. It's like they're excited to do it. And my dog is actually the one that holds me mostly accountable. Like he will not let me forget. And so that's something else that has been such a gift. And I feel like it is I'm finding these ways to like, okay, I want to be serious about being a parent, and I do not want to neglect the children. And yet I thought that I was going to have to start giving up these things in times past that were like, oh, this is my personal time, or this is, running or exercise or fitness or reading or these things. It's like, oh, I got it. You bring the kids into it, and it doesn't take away from it. It enhances it. And what's so funny is that I would have thought like a year ago, like, well, I'm still going to need my personal time. And I'm not saying that I never get personal time. I get it far more than you do, because like I work away from the home like 2 or 3 days a week. So I get that time in the car, and whatnot.
Like, I get that commute.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I guess I'm away from the kids too, even when I'm working at coffee shops or whatever. And also I like go to jujitsu too. And so it's like, I get a lot of time to myself, that's like very selfish. I'm not like laying down my life here by any means. I do a lot of things that are just selfish things.
Compared to like picturing when we were first married.
That's what I'm comparing it to, I guess.
It's crazy. I would have thought you would always need a lot of time. And it has been so sweet and convicting to see you totally change your whole identity, really. Because your identity was you were this introvert that needed hours and hours and hours of time alone. And I was the first person to like massively encroach on that. And I felt that early on in our marriage, I was just always there and always wanting you, and you adapted to bring me into your life. And then as the kids have come along, the kids were bringing up, I remember when, years ago, and after the kids would go in bed, we had a smaller house in a suburb, and you would go sit in the car. And I don't know, like call people or whatever. Yeah,
like call my dad, call my brothers. Like all the rooms were being used at our house.
Yeah.
And so I'd listen to sports radio.
I'd be in the living room or whatever. And, but it's like you had this set chunk of time, and then you've just gradually been like, you'd come to me and be like, I don't need this. I've told myself I need this. I don't. And just have really welcomed all of us into your time.
Oh, it's not my time.
It's been really generous of you.
That's the thing. It's embarrassing to think about, and I hope that I can say the same thing in 5 years, that the Lord continues to grow me and mature me and sanctify me, because it's like, man, I have been so selfish with my time for many years, and what's funny is I think I'm giving something up when I give a little bit of my evening time away, or I give a little bit of my morning time away. But of course, I'm the biggest recipient here, right? It's such a gift. It's such a blessing. But I do think we can tell ourselves lies, and culture tells them to us nonstop, as far as like, you need you time, or like you need to invest in yourself, or you need to, and I think you do need to invest in yourself, but I don't think it's it doesn't have to look how people say it's supposed to look. Right? Like the way that we think we need to rest or rejuvenate or recover, or just get inspired, we can find a way to do that that's helpful to our family and helpful to our marriage, not a huge take. And for a long time, the ways that I would, I put in air quotes, recharge or get my personal time just wasn't helpful to the family objectively. And we're at a season of life now where it's like, got it. Like I can't do that. The family pays for it too much, and I'm not willing to let the family pay for it like this anymore. And you'd think that's like, oh, I've got to sacrifice. It's like, no, I'm the one that is still coming out ahead on this whole thing.
I feel like this has been a long time, though, like not a long time coming, but you've been doing this for a long time, ever since really the tent. I feel like is where there was just this huge shift, because we were all on top of each other all the time, living in that small space. And we didn't have internet in the evenings. We lived out in the country. There wasn't any place to go to, or like you just kind of cold turkey changed habits.
Yeah, you're right. I think that was really helpful.
Never came back to them, even when we moved into, a regular dwelling and we have space to spread out. You could technically come down here, like we're recording this podcast after the kids go to bed, but you just don't. And it really, it speaks volumes to the kids and to me. And I can relate to that on that level of, I think going back, I think one reason why culture really prioritizes that whole me time situation is because kids' activities are seen to be at odds with adult activities or enjoyments. And so we're so exhausted of like the dino song, or the like cheesy books or the cheesy movies or the cheesy games or all of it, you know, the language, we just want to put the kids in bed, and that's when what we enjoy can start.
Yes.
And I think what's been so cool to see as our children have started getting a little bit older is how much they love what we love, and seeing, whoa, if we bring them in, you're bringing them into working out and reading the Bible and playing music in the evenings and reading. And it is still a sacrifice because other people are there, you still have responsibilities.
Right.
But it's just such a gift. You know, I mentioned the Get It All Done Club at the beginning of this episode, and we had some things I really teach in there. I felt like were very mentally stabilizing for me, which was having that totally alone morning time, totally alone 2 hours in the afternoon between 1 and 3, and then an evening time with toddlers, because they can't interact with you in the same way that a 7 or 8-year-old can, or have discussions, and those were the times that I got to pursue a little more like intellectually stimulating activities,
Right.
that I really enjoyed. But what's funny is now, you mentioning giving up those times, and now between 1 and 3, I don't have alone time during the younger kids' naps anymore.
Right.
And that's something I always thought I will never give this up.
Right.
And like what I won't give up is the quiet time during that hour. Those 2 hours. Still not going back on that. But it's like from 1 to 3, I have a child with me the whole time. You know, I'm reading one-on-one, or we're going over Latin, or we're going over English during this time, or there's a lot of different subjects we cover in those 2 hours. And I think if you told me when we first started having children, oh, you aren't going to be able to have that time, I would have been like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
I can't. I don't see how. We need a nanny or something.
Yes.
But it's been such a sweet time. Like, I love hanging out with our children. I love the discussions we have, and we're getting to do some of my favorite things.
Oh, and that's what you are, like my biggest inspiration in all of this, because it doesn't matter what time I return home. It doesn't matter what time I leave the house and what time I come back. You are serving the kids and you're working your face off. Like there's no other things that you do other than just serve and work. Like you're doing that all the time.
I do fun things for me within that, for sure.
But I think that's what's so inspirational about it, is that you're not viewing yourself as a victim, and you're not saying, woe is me, and I'm just, laying my life down here at the altar of boring motherhood. It's like you're making the most out of it, and you're making it a life that's fun for you to live and rewarding for you to live. It is work, and it is taxing physically, and it does cost something, but it is rewarding, and it can be really enjoyable in the midst of it too. And I think you're modeling that in a way that's really inspirational, and it's inspired me to try to do the exact same thing, because just like there is this battle of the flesh, like what our flesh wants in a moment is like just ease and the least resistance. And we know where that gets us. We know that it just brings forth death if we just continually succumb to the flesh. But if we don't listen to our bodies, we don't listen to our flesh, we don't listen to our laziness or our apathy or our selfishness, it is actually far more rewarding, and you can actually get momentum. And that's the cool thing about pouring into our kids, is they start giving back, and it's this like positive feedback like cycle where you're like, oh my word, this is really rewarding. I mean, I think of that tonight, like hearing all of the kids play the fiddle after the most recent fiddle lessons. It makes me hungry to keep doing fiddle lessons. And they were excited to show me tonight, like what they worked on in their practice session.
They were bummed we said we ran out of time.
And I was excited to show them the next part to each one of their tunes. Cause I was like, wow, I taught that part to them last night. They worked on it today. They dialed it in, and they were excited to show it to me. I want to show them the next part. And then they're knowing that they're going to work on it tomorrow. And then when I come home in the evening, they'll have that part, probably dialed in. And what's crazy is that my kids are so young, and I'm teaching them really fun tunes. Like you said,
hard.
And it's similar to like what you were saying with what you're working on in school. You're like, this is really fun. This is not like, for me on the music, this isn't out of tune, scratchy, boil the cabbage, and hey, good looking. I mean, I still have, I'm always going to have one of those students, probably as long as we keep having kids. But 3 of my kids are playing really fun tunes, and I enjoy hearing them. And so it's really rewarding to keep feeding into that.
It's like every week they get better, because I think we just posted like in Substack the Montana State Fiddle Competition.
Yes.
And competitions are stressful. I mean, you're just trying to get through your songs, I feel like. But just even the intonation jumps they have made in the last few weeks, and then the difficulty of tunes. They went to that contest and they saw how the other kids could play, and they came home, and I mean, you were inspired as their teacher, and they were inspired to really push themselves, and they came home just so hungry. for more difficult things. Yeah, it's just really fun to feel like already they're huge contributors to the enjoyment factor of everything we're doing. You know, I think of just dinner time conversations. You know, that's something that we've talked about before, but we have a 10-foot dining table, and I used to sit at Elisha's right hand and hog all his conversation. But a system that has changed since moving into this house is I sit at the other end. And I think initially I would have thought, oh, you know, that couple isn't very close or something. But when we sit this way, the kids get caught in the crossfires of all of our conversation. And likewise with us, we are more caught up in what they're speaking to us close by. And it's just so fun how our dinner time conversation, it gets richer every week.
Yes, it really does.
Like as they're learning more and as we're learning more, it's like they have more to add. And I'm just like, I'd rather talk to you guys than so many people.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a great example, Katie. Like I would have thought that, oh, they must not have a very good marriage because they're sitting on opposite ends of the table, you know, or they're just so distracted with the kids. Mm-hmm. I feel better in our marriage than ever before. I mean, as far as like the fun aspects of our marriage, it's really rewarding right now. Like I know this isn't like a marriage episode, but feeling really good about our marriage. I'm just speaking for myself. If you don't feel the same way, just blink twice. Okay. And we'll talk about it later.
It's like, what do you do on air? Yes. No, I do feel like it gets so much richer every year for sure.
But that's another thing where I thought we're giving something up. We're going to give up our conversation time at the end of the day, right? Where I come home from work, we sit down at the dinner table. We want to be able to connect and hear from each other. And we still get to do that, but it is far more of a group thing now, right? Where everybody's contributing and everybody's sharing about what happened in their day. And I feel richer than ever. Like I feel like it's more enjoyable than ever. I'm blown away with so many of the things that I was resistant to for a season. And it's like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to let the kids encroach upon my life. Like we can do that. I knew it was going to need to happen, but I was like, they're so young. Like we can put off, delay. And then when they're older, then I'll be willing to give these things up, right? Like
like when they're in their teen years,
exactly.
Basically.
Then I'll hang out with them in the evening and they can have some evening time and I'll work out with the boys and we can talk with them at the dinner table. And how
we could talk with them at the dinner table.
Then I'll hear from them. And then it just became so evident that the time is now. Like it is happening right now. That book, when your child's 6 to 12,
is 6 to 8. That is not enough time.
Just it hammers at home so profoundly and in such a poignant way where you can't miss the fact that this is when you're building culture, you're building their memories, you're building their appetites, you're building you're instilling in them what they think is cool, what they think is silly, what they think is dumb. And I don't want to miss this window. It's like, this is the time to really plant those seeds. And I'm enjoying it far more than I would have predicted. It's like it does not feel like a sacrifice at all. Like giving up some of my time to like browse YouTube or giving up some of my time to read by myself or giving up some of my time to, I don't know. I don't even know what it was that I was doing, you know? So anyways, yeah. Anything else before I go to the last thing?
Well, I just think, just as you were saying, you know, picturing the kids in high school or whatever, we were all working out down here after going on a little run. And it was so fun. Just all the kids picking up various weights and doing their body weight workouts, and you were lifting super heavy weights and I was doing my thing. And it was just so fun being like, I could totally picture this in, 10 years and all the boys all around and Lucy, and we're all pushing each other. And it's really fun, but you don't have to wait, I guess, to enjoy that season or to bring children into what you're enjoying right now. And I think that that's just a myth that maybe we can buy into is one, we have time, they can wait because we don't. Yep. And then the other is that it's not going to be worth it or it's not going to be enjoyable or very relational because it definitely is.
Amen. Totally agree. The last thing I'm going to say, and this is kind of new to me, it's a concept that we've touched on before, but I don't know about our listeners. I do know for myself, my willingness to do things with my kids has been there for a long time, but I just didn't know what to do with them, right? There was this lack of ideas or creativity. And so I've just recently revisited I mean, that's why even for the first few years of our having kids, it's like my kids knew me as being like, oh, mom's gone. Dad, let's get on YouTube. Right. This was before we were making an effort to go screen free and stuff like that. And so we'd get on there and we'd watch Dude Perfect or we'd watch whatever videos. And that because I just didn't know what else to do. It's like these guys are so young. Like, what else would they enjoy? I don't know. They enjoy this. Like I'm home with the kids by myself. We're going to watch Dude Perfect. And it's been so fun adding to my list of just things that I can do with my kids. And I think it's really crucial to write this down because when I'm tired or when I'm at the end of a day, or if there's ever a moment where you're taking Lucy to gymnastics and I've got the boys, or you're running to the store for something and I've got all the kids, or even you're home and I just want to do something with the kids while you're preparing dinner or something. I can't wait for that moment to decide what to do and to think of the idea. I need to have an established list of things that they know they can do with me and that I know I can do with them that I can go to. And I call it my list of like, these are the things I can do when all I want to do is sit down and watch YouTube, like with my kids, right? Like, because that still is it's always going to be the easiest thing is like, well, I don't know what to do. Okay, I know this thing will entertain them. And so I've got like 23 things now, I think, written down, and they can be things that require a lot of energy or things that require a little bit of energy. That's what's wild about these things. A lot of things that they love doing with me don't require a lot of energy, but I don't think of it in the moment, right? I don't think like, oh, and these are things that I'm proud of myself. I mean, saying proud of myself is silly. I should say like they're affirming to my identity as a father, as a provider, as a protector, as the prophet, as the priest of my home, because being on YouTube isn't affirming to that identity at all, right? I feel like a loser. You feel like you just wasted tons of time. You're like, well, I don't even know anymore. Like, what is anything? Like, time just went away.
I feel like it's been years since you did that, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it's like just easy now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's there's still moments where, I mean, prior to, kind of think comprising this list most recently, where it's like, what should I do with the kids right now? Like, what do they want to do? And so. Yeah,
you've had them for some huge chunks of time too, because of gymnastics.
Yeah, that's a new thing in our life.
So it's like, well, Elisha, since moving into this home, which I've been super grateful for, you take the kiddos and you do fiddle lessons when I make dinner.
Right. Yep.
Which is amazing. Or hang out with them otherwise, but.
It's fiddle lessons. That's the normal thing.
Often it's their fiddles. So that's amazing. But then we've had Lucy's gymnastics schedule and she bumped up to, what is it, 2.5? Was it an hour and a half?
It was 2.5
hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hour classes.
And then we're 30 minutes away.
Right.
So that's 3.5 hours that I'm gone with maybe just the baby and Luce, and you have the rest of the boys. And then on top of that, what was I going to say? Oh, now we're kind of entering into a new season where we might all be going into town for those hours.
To be determined. Yeah, we'll give our listeners an update if we
exactly
fully embrace that.
Stay tuned. We'll see what's going on. We're trying to kill 7 birds with a stone. And I don't know if that's going to be helpful for anybody. Okay, so that said, you've had these huge chunks of time.
Yeah, with the kids.
Like twice a week.
Yeah, and I don't know if any dads can relate to just not quite knowing what to do with the kids. It's like, man, I don't want to be the dad that just puts a show on for them, or I don't want to be the dad that just does the same old thing over and over and over again. But in those moments of clarity, whether it's in the morning or it's in the evening, just start writing things down. And it can be simple. It can be as simple as starting with reading a book. Okay, that's a better thing. Oh, making tea with them. We already talked about kids. My kids love making tea. I like doing a lot of these things by myself too. Like, these are things I can do by myself. Organizing the shop. The kids love doing that with me, right? Organizing tools. These are classic dad things, but they are productive and I get to do them with my kids, right? I go out and I mow the lawn with the kids. I throw the football, and some things are fun. I throw the football, we play soccer, we go for a walk, we take Gentry out for a walk, we don't go down to the creek. We go out to the trampoline. I just need a list before me that I can reference, be like, okay, got it. We can do that one right now. Like that's very doable. Or if there's any chores around the property, it's like, let's go do those chores really quick. And sometimes they can be like bigger projects too. If I'm feeling up for it, it's like, hey guys, let's go split firewood, right? Like if I feel like I've got the energy, but that one might require more energy. And so on the day that I'm not feeling the energy, it's nice to have an alternative that's lower energy or lower willpower that's still not just sitting in front of a screen, right? And so, just creating your own list, I think, is extremely helpful. And if you're doing it with your kids, they're going to think it's cool when they're young. It doesn't matter what it is. Like you guys could be cleaning the bathroom, and they'll think it's great. It's like, hey guys, get down your hands and knees with me. Like, let's clean. We got to clean around the toilet, boys. If you're going to be a boy living in this house, you got to learn to clean the toilet. Like that's going to be a rule here. And so, anyways, creating a list of things to do that are affirming to your identity that you can reference when you're in those moments of not knowing what to do or you don't have the energy to come up with something.
I like how you brought up that point too. You do a lot of fun things with the kids, but working alongside them at young ages is just super relational. The kids love, like you said, cleaning the shop with you. I think when kids start to kind of get bummed out about that is probably once they're out of that like 12-year-old stage.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they're like maybe 11, 12 years old. They start being like aware that like, this is your project. You want this cleaned. Like, do you want to hang out with me? You know? And so it's not like you can't still build relational equity doing those things, but I think it's important you mix in other things over just your projects.
Yes.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Where when they're under that age, they're just happy to be doing
anything.
Yeah,
I 100% agree. Yeah. Exactly. That's why it's a great time to capitalize on it.
It really is.
Like capitalize on their willingness to do anything, and to and enjoy doing it with you. I think of even like something I put on the list is like cleaning my guns, because it's a great time. Obviously the boys, just anytime they're around guns, it's the highlight of their life. And that's something that doesn't take a lot of energy, a lot of willpower. I can just kind of putsy around, clean my guns. And it's a great time to teach them firearm safety and, just like give them the sober perspective on firearms while I'm doing something that's productive, and I'm including them kind of in the process. You can come up with, I think I've got currently 23 things right now on my list. I didn't say them all, but it's nice to have a bunch of things that are positive things to do that don't require a ton of willpower.
Thanks for sharing some of those, Elisha.
You're welcome, Katie.
Yeah, I'm serious. I haven't heard of a lot of those, but I do know the kids have a blast with you when they're with you. And you're even so good about, cleaning up the kitchen, cleaning up the house, all that stuff when I come home, which I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but the kids are always on board to make it look nice when I come back, if I've been gone in the evenings, and that means a lot. But yeah, I just think it's a really fun season that we're in. It is. And it's kind of crazy. Yeah, because I do think the biggest space that I need, I'm identifying more and more the incredibly sweet, unconditional love that little non-talking children bring into your life. And also how they take like 80% of the energy to raise. Because the older ones, if they're, obedient and you have their heart and they enjoy being with you, they give back so much energy, and it's really a delight. And I keep feeling kind of like the same amount taxed going into the toddler and the infant, and feeling like, okay, they're the ones I really hope stay in bed in the morning. They're the ones I need to put to bed at 7. They're the ones that I need to take a nap from 1 to 3, 1 to 3 in the afternoon. So all that has stayed the same from those days in the Get It All Done Club. Is I do think those breaks are really healthy for them to reset, for them to know what comes next, and to give me a break from and you a break, from being just hands-on with those little physical demands. But it's not just children as a whole. I feel like the other, and those guys, obviously, Lionel and Lyman are just the dearest. I told Elisha tonight, like, it's so sweet to see the older kids even like interact with them, because that's not something we've really had. We've had this kind of peer-to-peer relationship. And now our 8-year-old takes the 2-year-old out and just hangs out with him, or our daughter hangs out with the baby. And it's just so sweet to see how much they love their younger siblings. And I'm grateful that they have that. But it's a lot of energy still going into into those two, where I would have thought it would lighten up or change or something.
That's wild. It requires the
still,
same.
yeah.
Plus you have these older kids.
Yeah, I don't like, I guess, and this might just be me as a mother, because I've heard people say, and I still hear people say, well, it's just one more. And I don't know when that kicks in, because even though my kids are huge helpers, like the taking care of the toddler and the infant is still dependent on me.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like physical demand, you know? So I'm just I don't know. I'm like, what is this wizardry where someone is just kind of like, who cares? It's another baby. And like the older kids will magically take care of the younger baby. And I'm like, my kids love hanging out with their younger siblings, but like if there's a potty mess, it's my job to pick it up, or if they need to be cleaned after the meal or, whatever the case may be, nursed or all these things. So anyways, that is beside the point. But all that to say is the older 4 are really in a season now, 4 and up, where it is just, and really Lawrence has been there since he's been 3, where it's really rich when you choose to embrace it. There's a lot more talking. So there's a lot less mental space sometimes.
Sure.
Like my daughter today, she's like, she was making food with me, and I was just trying to like think, and I realized, now's not the time I can actually think, She's like, are you mad about something? I'm like, no, I'm just trying to think,
focused.
I need to think about some things for a second here, and, anyways, so that is something that's a little different, and that I think I crave just laying in bed sometimes in the quiet and just thinking.
Yeah.
But it's a sweet season.
Yeah, it is. And I want to give you that time.
I'm so grateful. You do. I'm so grateful for you. And you're just leadership of the family, and the way that every time I look to you, you don't back down. You just keep kind of like pushing yourself harder and calling yourself higher. And I think I'm really challenged to be like, wow, okay, I can expect more for myself too, instead of just kind of throwing in the towel and saying, well, this doesn't really matter anyways.
Whatever. You've never come close to throwing in the towel. You always level up. And I think it's just because you just come under the conviction like, oh, well, there's no other option, right? Like you're not going, there is no taking the easy road, or there's no abdicating. You're like, got to figure it out here. We're going to solve this problem here.
So all that said, I hope some of that was encouraging.
Me too.
If someone feels like they're in a similar season.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners are.
Folks, thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.